What to do, guys? You guys already know what it is from the title of the video. All right, let's get right into it. Ilias is not here today. It's just me. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to be talking about the worst NHL teams, or the predicted who will finish worst in the NHL this next season. These teams are actually pretty hard to pick, believe it or not. There's a lot of good teams out there, and there's a lot of teams that you would think would be bad who were bad last year, but they low-key have had some good signings. So we'll get into all of that in just a sec, but just make sure to subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell, leave a comment for what you want to see us do next, or if you agree with anything we say or disagree, and like the video if you liked it. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. So, the teams that we have, or the teams that I have, at least for my worst NHL teams, I'm going to take one from the East and one from the West. From the West, it's interesting to me. You have Anaheim, who, well, let's just see all the California teams, right? Because they were the ones who finished the bottom in the West last year. So you have Anaheim, Los Angeles, and San Jose. Between them, I think Anaheim might be in the best scenario, or at least Anaheim's the one that's not going to finish last. You know, big Kevin Shattenkirk signing. Gibson is honestly one of the most underrated goalies in the league. I literally have seen it firsthand. I didn't think he was going to be good, but one of my friends is a Ducks fan, and he really proves me wrong by showing me Gibson and just day to day what he does. So I honestly think they're a solid team. I think Gibson's potentially one of the best goalies in the NHL, or at least will be for sure. And he's probably the most underrated ones. So I do think because of that, and because of the Kevin Shattenkirk signing, and because they just have some good young goal scorers, I don't think I could say that they're the worst team in the NHL, or they will finish the worst. To me, the worst team has to have, at least defensively, they have to have lots of mistakes. Offensively, if they have good young players, they could still finish last. But to me, like, I'm looking for a team that's in a rebuild. In my opinion, you know, LA's definitely in there. LA's has a really young team, doesn't have as much skill as they used to. They still have Drew Doughty, but you know, he's aging. To me, they're a good team still. I think they're one of my potentials for being last in the West. I don't know if they will finish last in the West, but they're definitely a potential. I don't think they'll be too far from it if they do not finish last. I think they're not going to finish that much higher. But then I also leave San Jose, and San Jose is interesting because everyone thought they were going to be a cup contender last year. I personally did not. I think they were aging. I didn't even think that the year before they were going to do anything. So there's that, and Carlson's coming back, but he's also had like a full year not playing hockey, right? So we always have to factor that in. So to me, San Jose is kind of weak right now in the fact that their goaltending, let's be honest, is not good at all. And this offseason, I can't lie to you, they have not made many moves that have changed anything. This offseason has kind of been a weak one for them, in my opinion. They obviously did just lose their captain in Joe Thornton, but just in general, I don't think they've had the greatest offseason. From building from their team last year, that was kind of disappointing. To me, they haven't declared it yet, but they're in that rebuild phase, and they should not be finishing too high up in the West. They do still have Erik Karlsson again, but and Brent Burns, obviously, but Erik Karlsson hasn't played in over a year, so there's that. But again, when you have Karlsson and Burns on your team, that's a pretty good defense. Like, they could carry your defense, right? So I would have them. I don't know if I would have them last, but I'd have them near there. To me, the biggest one out of the West, though, and this is kind of a bold prediction, and we'll do a video about bold predictions later, but to me, right now, Chicago is not very great. If you saw our last video, you know we talked about the whole Chicago situation and all the drama behind it. But looking into this team, they don't have a starting goalie. It's not that their starting goalie is bad. It's the literal fact that they don't have one at the current moment. They just don't have goalies signed. So in a pretty deep offseason to get goalies. Their defense, I can't say they have a legit number one defender, which is something I could say about San Jose. San Jose has two. So there's that. Offensively, you have Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Obviously, when you have those two, you're not a trash team. Those two can carry your offense, and they do have some good young offensive players, but they are in a rebuild, which shows me that if anyone does play good, they're going to be trading to get intentionally worse right now. They're trading for the future, and to me, that just kind of shows that they're not interested in winning now. And when a team, an organization, a board is not interested in winning now, it usually doesn't end well for the team. The team usually doesn't do well. So to me, the Chicago Blackhawks, and this is a bold statement, are probably going to be last in the West. And to me, it's the two dynasties, really, Chicago and LA. I honestly do think one of those two will be last in the West. But I do think Chicago is going to get it just because they have officially announced that they're on a rebuild, and they will not be trading to get better, and they will trade to get worse. So if any players do perform well, I do think they will get traded, with the exception of Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. However, I could even see them getting traded because of all the drama that we talked about in the last video, so check that one out. But yeah, to me, they're the last in the West. And in the East, I could easily say Detroit, but Detroit has had a pretty decent offseason with Bobby Ryan and Troy Stecher. Obviously, it doesn't change everything. They did also get, I think, Thomas Greiss as well. Either way, they have a decent starting goaltending. They have decent defense. They have a decent offense. It's not great. I'm not going to sit here and say it's great because it's not. It's pretty bad, but I think it's better than last year. I don't know if that does anything for them because they did finish last year by a landslide. I don't know, but I think they're definitely one of them. I think if it won't be Detroit, and I'd be surprised if it was Detroit actually, but I'm making another bold prediction on this side, and I think New Jersey's going to have a bad season. Offensively, who do you have? Nico Hischier and Kyle Palmieri. That's not a good offense. That's not a good top offensively. I don't even know past those two who they really have. Andreas Janssen, that's a good pickup for them. But again, that's not really that strong of a lineup. Defensively, they had PK Subban, who I think should try to have a good bounce back. I just don't know what their identity is, and I saw Steve Dangle's video on this too, but I just don't know what their identity is, because if you see, they have Corey Crawford, right, who had a pretty great season last year, but he is older, and some of their players are players for now, like PK Subban, and not players for the future. So I think they have to make a mid-season decision of what their identity is, or I think they should do it now, but I do think it'll come mid-season. I think board wants them to at least have another shot at this. They don't want to do anything drastic in either way of getting good players or trading the team just yet. But I do think they're one of those teams that I don't see having a great season. I think PK Subban probably gets traded. Even with his cap hit, I think New Jersey definitely retains a lot of it. But yeah, I do think PK gets traded. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Corey Crawford also got traded. If a team needs a goalie, I think that's what will happen for them. So I do think in the East it'll be between New Jersey and New Jersey and Detroit. I don't think Ottawa, because Ottawa had a great offseason, an absolute stellar offseason, and they're decent enough not to be last in the East. With Dodonov, obviously, they have a good young core there with Connor Brown and everyone else there, and Kachuk. Again, Method on defense, and again, Matt Murray. I don't know which Matt Murray you're going to get, but either way, Matt Murray, I think, can turn things around, and in my opinion, he will turn things around. To me, they're not a last-place team in the NHL right now. So, yeah, that's my prediction. And between the East and the West, it's tough to pick a loser, and I hate to do it, but I do think it's tough, but I think it'll be, I don't want to say it, but I think it'll be Chicago, and that's tough to say because they have good players, but I don't think the fact that they've already said, hey, we're doing a rebuild, kind of shows that, hey, this is it, right? This is the team that we're not going to keep anymore. So we're going to be trading players like possibly Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves. And once you do that, who's left there? I don't think anyone else. I think, to be honest, it'll be between those three, though. I think the bottom three will end Chicago, Detroit, New Jersey. That's a random order I have right now, but I think you could interchange that. But anyway, that's my prediction for who's going to finish last next year. Comment down below if you agree with it. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell. We really appreciate it when you guys do. Hit the like button and just comment anything you actually want. You know what? Yeah, just comment anything you want. And we'll definitely respond. Thanks for watching the video, guys.